understanding of what happened in the book of Luke is almost the beginning. And Matthew's is like coming after the fact. Because if you look in the book of Luke, it's talking about that Jesus was in a manger.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't talk about it in the book of Matthew. It talks about that, listen, so here it is, you got the Magi, the wise men, they come to Herod and they're asking him, where's the child? But beforehand in Luke, they said that they have seen, you know what I'm saying, and the baby, so the shepherds was out. And then it comes down and it says that the angel came to speak to him and say, listen, something has occurred and you'll find the baby in a manger.
Yes, sir.
That's in the book of Luke, chapter 2. So we come fast forward. Now we're talking about the Magi has come up on Herod. So if you kind of get the stories, you can kind of see that, the manger. So if you look at it, it says this, it says that, just look at 1b. It says that in the days of Herod the Great, then it talks about why they call him great at the bottom of page 155. It's because of this extensive building projects. That's why they call him Herod the Great. 155, bottom paragraph. But see, look at 1c, and it gives a point. It says, behold, there were wise men from the east. Read 1c, the paragraph at the top of it, please. Many legends.
So many legends have arisen in Christian tradition about the wise men. These included
Speculation.
These include speculation regarding the expansion and of the keys, that they are numbering 3. Their names were, what's that?
Melchor,
Melchor,
Caspar,
Caspar, and Beelzebub,
right.
and their places in the origin, Babylon or Persia. Matthew's account doesn't answer such questions. See the lesson content and in the background observation regarding the word that Magi and Magi and the wise men.
Mm-hmm. So we understand that they came from the east and describing a point of origin and not their route. It's wise men from the east, not came from the east. So what lets us know is that this is only speculations. There's nothing anywhere that says that the names of these 3 people. Now you can go into different writings by historians and things of that nature, and they try to pinpoint it.
Right.
But as far as there being documentation in the Bible, who these men were, it is not written anywhere. So this right here is only conjecture, you can basically say.
Right.
So we don't want to say that these are the men, but we know that there were some men and they had to travel from the east. The reason I believe that they're saying from the east is because they mentioned, if you know that in the book of Daniel, we talk about, the wise men.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, God have mercy, Esther, in the book of Esther, wise men is them traveling, and we're going to get into that. They say that they traveled close to 600 miles from Babylon, and that's where the captivity was at.
That's right.
In Babylon. Anyone want to add to that?
First, when they saw the star,
Mm-hmm.
this was extraordinary. This is something they have never seen before. Although they studied stars.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But this was something, and I think they got a word called nova. Where-
Supernova.
Yes, supernova. Where it gets so bright,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then gradually it will fade away.
Yeah.
You know, and they had about about 4 appearances. 2 BC, 1 BC, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Of this happening before. So the wise men saw something that they have never seen before.
Because they're studying it.
Right. They
Right.
studied the
Right.
star.
Mhm.
And I just want to bring the attention. And also they had a visit from the angel.
You talking for, hold that thought right
Yeah.
there. Brother Boone,
Well, back to the star.
the star.
When the shepherds saw the star, and the one thing about the star was that it shone bright during the day.
Yes.
Now that's
Yeah,
some, now,
yeah.
now somebody might find what you just said a fallacy, right?
Yeah.
If you can see, we all thought, hey, you can see the moon and and the sun
That's right.
in the daytime.
Yeah.
But people like, oh, you can't, yes. So that is some powerful thing that you have the possibility of seeing something that's just unimaginable.
Yeah.
Now, I want to add to that because when the wise men went to see Harry, it's almost like the star disappeared, right? And then when they got through speaking to Harry, and then they got ready to take off, it reappeared. You see what I'm saying? Now, they say that there's 6 miles, from Bethlehem to Jerusalem, a good walk. And the question was is that if they met up with Herod and then they took off to see the star in the evening, they say that you don't do no traveling at night. But if it was so bright, why couldn't Herod see it?
Yeah, that's good.
You get it?
Yeah.
Herod is asking the wise men, where's that star at? And how long it's been out there? That's kind of crazy to think. Why didn't Herod, why come he couldn't see the star and understand what was going on? Was it something that only those who studied it had the ability to see it? Or was it so bright? Go ahead, Brother Moore.
But didn't the shepherds see it?
The angels came and spoke to the shepherds,
Right.
to tell them what has occurred. And then he told them, look, the child is over here. And that's how they got over there. They say, hey, the child is over in a manger. Because see, the shepherds got notification through the angels. Because now they praise him. And then they say, hey, let's go find him. The star, yeah, about it.
They did see the star.
And so, but on the other end, Herod is asking about the star. As if, now they heard about all of the prophecy concerning it,
Right.
but there was something else about it that he didn't understand. That he needed the wise men to tell him. Because his Pharisees and Sadducees and all them, who's supposed to be the most smartest, the most
Right.
intelligent, the most knowledgeable,
Right.
they couldn't help him. Just as well as in the book of Daniel, all of those, not Sadducees at the time, but those, I didn't call them sorcerers, but those who say that they were smart, couldn't figure out, interpret the dreams.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that God is only going to give to the people that's, that understands him and are locked in what he's doing.
A question.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that for the wise men, their native land was Persia or Babylon,
What's
which
his
was about 1,000 miles, because the journey almost took 2 years. Remember, we travel in the book. Chapter 1. We travel from during the birth of Christ, and then we travel in. Now it's 2 years when Herod comes on the scene.
Well, not necessarily.
It took 2 years.
See, if you look in, and this is what's strange about that, if you grab Luke and you grab Matthew, so that we kind of get an understanding of this here. considered kings, priests, some high
Yeah,
level of
they-
people.
yeah.
So for them to come in and say, hey, listen here, King Herod wants to see us.
Oh, they had connection with Herod already.
They already got a connection with
Yeah.
him somehow. And plus you're traveling, doing some particular work. You got papers and you got, you got your access card to get where you gotta go. And you're not traveling alone, just as well as they talk about how Queen Sheba, when she was traveling and brought all of that, gold and frankincense and everything with it, you got a caravan of people rolling on with you, you know what I'm saying?
Because you had robbers and bandits during that time. And
Absolutely.
so with 3 people to travel that distance, they would have been in danger. So I would say they had entourage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had a
You know.
caravan of people that were
Right.
traveling with them.
That's
We
what
only
I'm saying.
specifically hear about the
Yeah,
wise men,
yeah.
but we understand that they weren't traveling alone.
Right.
It's understood, it's underneath it.
But then we relate the 3 because of the 3 gifts. We
Mhm.
relate it as 3 wise men.
Oh, absolutely.
Because 3 gift was given, therefore we always have known, we always state 3 wise men.
3 wise men.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes
I got Luke, bro. Which one you want?
go look, I mean, you go to 1.
Go.
Go Luke 1. I mean, just go to Luke 1 and then we'll pull up and we'll look at Matthew 2 as well. Matthew 2 and 16 is the one that's going to kind of bring forth on what actually occurred from the 2-year-old thing he was talking about there, Brother Brooks.
Okay, how far you want to go?
3 or 4 verses. Just kind of hit us home with it, kind of let us know what it's talking about.
Let's go to Luke 2. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
Mm-hmm.
And in the taxing of the first made of sustenance, the governor of Syria, and to all be taxed, in every one to his own city. And Joseph also up from Galilee, but out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the house of his lineage of David. To be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there in those days, accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, wrapped in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
Yeah, just stop right there. That's kind of ironic. When you look at this, I want to just you reading that just trigger something in my mind because the prophets talked about how there would be somebody that would be born in Bethlehem, right? I think Micah 5.
Mike,
Right.
yeah.
So, and now here it is. It's like, well, how does that correlate with? And then it tells us that because of the taxation that had taken place, they had to go to Bethlehem to pay their taxes. So it just kind of lets us know how they connect. The prophets talk about it, and now 700 years before, when Mike was talking about the story, here it is. It lets us know how it took place, how they actually got to Bethlehem for Jesus' birth. So that lets you know that prophetically, how God is always in the background setting things in order. You know what I mean? So when we look at that, I want to, so we know that Jesus was born in a manger. Okay? So looking at it, and it says that, right here it says that they were both righteous before God. 7 says they had no child because Elizabeth was barren. They come down and it talks about the custom and well, that's 7:2. Actually, we're back here. And so it says that the firstborn, a spouse. So we know that the baby was in a manger. Now in Matthew, it talks about that they had to go to the house.
And they mentioned child, too.
It was the child,
Child,
right?
not baby.
Not baby. So
So
Yeah.
we need to look at how long it took the wise men to travel from the time they heard it to arrive into before King Herod. So how long did it take that journey? Now King Herod wants to kill you. Remember, he wants to kill her
The child.
2
Right.
years
2
old.
years old.
So this is why we want to identify. This is why I'm saying 2 years. They're no longer in the manger, they're in a house. So that went, and this is why I'm saying the travel was at least 2 years. Because now King Herod wants to kill every child 2 years and under, not 2 years and over. He said 2
That's
years
true.
and under.
That's true.
So looking at 2 and 16, it's good you say that, Brother Rosen, because in 2 and 16 it says, as you said, that when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he was exceedingly wroth, mad, angry, and he wanted to slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all coasts thereof from 2 and under, according to the time which he diligently inquired of the wise men.
Right.
Are you with me now?
Yes.
So from the time frame that he spoke to the wise men to this point where we're at right now is 2 years, almost 2 years. So during that period of time is when he wanted to kill everybody that was in that age frame.
Because he was mad because, he told them to come back and
He
give
told them to
him
come
the
back.
word.
Right.
And, and they went to that country that another way.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that right there has been almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, if we say the traveling that took place, see, they were trying to make it to the destinations to see the birth of Jesus from, they say, we seen the star. They've been studying it. They say, you know what, there's something special about that one, the star of Bethlehem, right? So they look in, they doing the design, they've been studying it. Hey, we know that there's something special. We know that the prophecy and the scriptures, they talk about this child that would be born, right? So they come down and they say, listen, let's go and find the child. So we really don't know what time frame, how long that took. It could have been, like you say, it's almost 600 to 1,000. It's a very long travel. And by like you say, it could have took them 2, 3, 4 years. We don't know. But they were looking at this. The scriptures don't really tell us how long the travel took. But we do know that from the time that Herod spoke to the Magi, it was almost 2 years. So from that time frame, he said, you know what? I don't know where he might be at, but what we can do is we kill all the kids that's around that age.
It was a threat to his kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was a threat to Herod, which Herod, remember Herod called himself not only Herod the Great,
Mm-hmm.
he called himself King of the Jews, which played a significant part. He called himself King of the Jews.
We called himself, he was like emperor, king, King
Yeah.
Herod. But not just the Jews.
But that's what
He
Herod
really didn't
would
care about.
identify himself at one time. He could say that himself, that he was King of the Jews. And we call him King Herod the Great. The reason we call him Herod the Great is because of the thing that he had built, the thing that
Project.
he built, all the ability. He didn't do nothing that important for it to be great. It's just the thing that he built. But he
It's
wanted to,
structured.
according to his father, he wanted to be called King of the Jews. But he wasn't a Jew.
Well, see,
That's why he couldn't be called King of the Jews. He wasn't a Jew.
well, I don't think he wanted to be
He
called
wasn't in that
king.
king line. He wasn't in the line of David.
Who? You told me
Harold
Herod?
was not in the
No,
line of David.
No, he was but he wasn't a Jew.
He wasn't a
Yeah,
Jew.
yeah. And so he
couldn't
I haven't
fit
seen
in.
an inference where Herod wanted to be called king of the Jews. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
Just through my study.
No, that's
I
good.
have.
Because of the fact that
I'm sorry, just real quick, just so we don't keep you wrapped up, because I know y'all still got a lot to go. Most commentaries we talking about the 2 years, because even when I preached last week, I talked about the 2-year period based off those verses. Most people look at it like saying when he sent them out, remember the Magi, they saw that they was already searching, like everything y'all said. I just want to put it in the timeline. They were searching. They went to the palace because they expected, if just paraphrasing, expected that that's the king and everybody else should know where he's going at, right? After that, like you're saying, he sends them out. And I forget which scripture, but y'all was quoting because I had to read it up. So when you read those scriptures, it typically say that it's 2 years or less. The reason why we know it's not necessarily 2 years because he went 2 years down. So most people argue, the commentaries say that after he sent them on a mission to find the child that would be born, like saying king, once they had met Jesus, he realized that he didn't know that God sent him a different way, all this type of stuff. Then he ordered to kill him. He could have ordered to kill him at the beginning, but he chose not to. So that's why some people just argue that it was at 2 years or less that it took him to get to Jesus. That's why each one of those scenes that y'all did was different scenes to the shepherd, to the wise men, and to, what was the other one? It was he's saying to the shepherds, to the the wise man, it was one other person. Oh, just the room of the story being
Yeah,
birthed
yeah.
in the making. So each one is just different moments in time. So not to get wrapped up in
Yeah,
that, because
yeah.
I was scholars, y'all got a lot more to go.
No. Hey, I want to. Hey, that one right there. I'm gonna have to sit in with you.
But I haven't seen the King of the Jews.
Yeah, yes. Hey, listen. No. Hey,
I
check
have
out
it
my
right here. I'm not just, I don't say.
No, I know you don't speak. You always speak in commentary.
Go ahead.
But
Give us
cite,
that. Give us that. Hey, give us. Go
no,
ahead.
cite the scriptures
Cite
or the commentary.
So we
that's
can get an understanding right now, there, brother. Because Jesus, that's why they nailed that sign up on him.
Right.
King of the Jews.
Okay.
Bless you.
Herod the Great.
What book you in?
Matthew, the book of Matthew.
Oh, the book of Matthew.
Herod the Great, as
Scripture.
is often known, is the first of several Herods mentioned in the New Testament. Herod rise to prominence begin years early after his father, Antipas, and his father, Antipas, that was Herod's father, was propelled into power by none other than Julius Caesar
Mm-hmm.
of Bruta fame. Dad used his influence in Rome to secure for his son the prestigious position of prefect over Galilee. Over time, Herod would manipulate his superior into conferring upon him the mother of all Gentiles, Herod, king of the Jews.
Oh,
Never
say that
mind
again.
that Herod would
Say the last sentence again.
Herod would manipulate his superiors unto confer upon him the mother of all Gentiles, Herod, king of the Jews. Never mind that Herod was not a descendant of King David, had no place in the kingdom line, and lacked the regal right to rule from David's throne. Never mind that Herod was not a descendant of Abraham, therefore not Jewish, and thus had no legal right to the title king of the Jews.
There's some
What scripture are you citing from that commentary is breaking out?
this commentary.
Commentary.
You don't
It's
have
going-
a scripture that's tied. It should. It should be referenced in the scripture.
Who's writing that?
This is coming out of the book of Matthew.
Yeah, but I'm talking about. You know what I get out of that is that.
What they're getting at, the commentary is getting this out of Matthew,
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 1.
What they looked at, yeah. But Matthew 2.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 1.
But 2:1 doesn't, you
And
know.
the commentary just,
Well, I think what he's saying is that we know that Herod wanted to be called king, and because of the fact that they were sitting there in Jerusalem and he's an Israelite, you know what I'm saying? So they saying, listen here, I'm king, so I'm king all y'all. He wanted people to call him king of the Jews
Right.
because they say, from what I get right there, it says that he's trying to get everyone to confirm that, hey, I'm the king of the Jews. Meaning that he wanted people to, you know, lift me up, man.
and that's
This is why,
exactly what
like
he said.
Nebuchadnezzar,
That's what the
when-
commentary is saying coming out of chapter 2, verse 1. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're
Let me hit you with Matthew 2:1. Now,
Yeah.
when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east. That's all it says, right?
Yeah.
So we know that Herod is the king, right?
Yeah.
That's his position. Herod meaning the position that he's holding, right? So he wanted some people. I think what they did with this one right here, that Brother Rose, is they opened up the dialogue, and he really wanted the people to love him, to care for him, because
Right.
he was a brutal.
He was a brutal
Oh,
king.
yeah,
He was a brutal
He
man.
wasn't gonna get that kind of love.
Yeah, he'd go crazy when something happened.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to understand, there was a threat from a child. You got a child
Oh.
threatening his kingdom, and he goes crazy.
Mhm.
He's gonna kill so many people because of a 2-year-old. Now he's trembling behind a 2-year-old taking over his kingdom.
Because he said that
Go
this
kill
baby
some
is
people.
born is gonna be
Right.
king, and he said, I'm the only one
That's right.
that should be
Herod
called
was
king.
He was a wicked king.
And so, yeah, that's what he was. Yeah, I have to agree that definitely I can see how somebody can say that. So if I own all of it, you
Yeah,
know, all
right.
these
And that's
streets,
how he was.
I'm the mayor of the city. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, whatever it may be. You know, so yeah, I can. You know,
Remember,
but
he
we know that he wasn't called king of the Jews.
No, he fit in there.
Okay.
But that's how the commentary put it.
Yeah, I'm with that. I can agree with the commentary kind of subliminally saying that, but we're gonna hold that right quick. So
Okay.
we know that there was a star, right?
Right.
The Magi tried to find the star because there was something specific about this star. Their faith to look for this. So my question to all y'all is that, what are you willing to do to find Jesus?
That's good.
How far are you willing to go
Yeah, yeah.
to find Jesus?
Mm.
Do you have the faith, to go such distances to find Jesus?
Yeah.
Even you may be a Magi, someone who learned of our God through an unusual circumstance, because we know that the wise men, they didn't believe in the same God as we did, but prophetically they had already studied. They'd known that this thing was to occur. They had read the scriptures in Micah and Isaiah. They had read the beginning scriptures way back in Numbers and in Deuteronomy. And all of these scriptures talk about, a star. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, 24:17, it talks about it, that there would be a star. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And from this root of David, that this thing would happen. So we know that for a fact that there are so many instances about a star. That they talk about the scepter. We know that that's royalty. We know that that's power and authority. So we know from the scriptures that we've read that there was going to be something special about this star. They saw it. They studied it. They found it. They come to Herod. Herod, being the evil one he is,
Yes.
jealous, envy, he didn't want anybody to be called king except for him. That's probably what his statement said, hey, I'm king all of y'all.
Yeah.
So definitely I would believe that, which lets us know that the king was troubled because of the child, which is the second portion of it. He had heard, sent the Magi comes back. We know that there was a period of time from the time frame that they left because God has spoke to them. It lets us know that when you are following God, God has the ability to give you discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When things are going kind of crazy and you wondering because you've been deceived. The Magi was deceived by Herod. But God will come back and let you know, because it doesn't, operate in your spirit right. So he'll let you know. Same way he did with Balak, when he was dealing with Balaam, when when the donkey spoke, when he wanted to do some uncorrupt actions against Israel, coming across, through Jericho. And he says, nah, I'm not, you don't come against what I said. The seed of Abraham would be, would be many, nations of many, multiplication of seeds on the sand, and so forth and so on. So we know that there's so many connected prophecies and stories in the Bible about this. So with that being said, we know that the king was troubled. Then we go to, what did they do after they found Jesus? They worshiped. So here it is. You study it. You study your word. You're getting prepared. You find that as you read your words, there's something deeply embedded because you've been studying and God showed it to you. So now you want to keep studying. You want to find that star. You want to find that information. You want to get some of what you've seen. So you're going to keep studying because you want to get close to Jesus. You get to Jesus, and the next thing you know, you say, man, I found him. They say that they rejoice. They rejoice when they found Jesus. They say they worshiped him. Mama. See, there's something about when you find what you've been looking for. My God.
Yeah.
You've been looking, you've been searching years and years, you've been traveling. You've been going around trying to find this thing. And Lord and behold, they come upon him and they say, we found what we've been looking for. We saw the scriptures, the prophet talked about it. We know why David had the ability to do what he did. We know that when we took him out of captivity and we brought him to Babylon and we studied him and why they didn't want to bow down, with Nebuchadnezzar, because they knew something. So these Magi, they've been reading all of this stuff because they basically took everything from Jerusalem. They snatched good things. So they took everything from Jerusalem, took it back to Babylon. So all of the information, all of the study, they got the books. People been sitting there reading it all, studying, getting prepared. So they already knew, you know what? There's something in those scriptures and prophetically about this Jesus character. And then they saw it. They studied it, they found it, they saw it. And when they found it, they rejoiced in it. They worshiped in it. Oh, what a great thing is that we've been asking God to show us something that we ain't never seen before. And then he came to us and he said, yeah, here it is right here. And then when I get it and I find it, he said, listen, what you gonna do with it, Reb? Oh, Lord, you gotta worship him in spirit and in truth. So here it is, we say that they found Jesus and they worshiped him. My. And then it says that when you come and then you give them gifts, Lord have mercy. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Gold, my Lord. Wealth, frankincense, and myrrh. Precious ointments. All of this here has been coming from Asia, Africa, India. You just can't get these things. So it tells us that the travelers had the ability to get some gifts for Jesus that just wasn't known to normal man. And they gave him enough to where he was traveling, him and his family. I'm talking Joseph, Mary, and Jesus and the whole entourage was able to eat, live, and everything when they traveled through Egypt. And they say that the frankincense and the myrrh. Go ahead, Brother Rose.
Let me just read on the gold.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yes. Okay. The gold mentioned in 43 books of the Bible, a precious metal used throughout history as a currency standard, symbol of nobility and royalty.
Yes, sir.
A measure of a person's character or an object worth as good as gold.
My.
Frankincense is an expensive type of incense with a beautiful aroma used to signify the holiness of the presence of our God and the sweetness of our prayer as they rise to God. And myrrh is a common perfume, but with ominous undertone to its sweetness. Myrrh was also used to prepare a body for burial,
Yes, sir.
including the body of Jesus.
Amen.
The three
Yeah, I mean-
gifts that they give.
Yeah, amen. No.